First of all, thank you all for giving me an opportunity to talk about something on mobile broadband related to Indian market. Before I kickstart on my presentation, I have a small story which I thought that I should share with you guys so that it makes sense on this presentation that how exactly we're going to probably move forward. I still remember during my school days when I was in 1980s, the first call was on a landline, which was on a small telephone, where a person used to run from one home to other home if suppose someone is calling. And then in 2000, we have seen that everybody was having a cell phone. So today we have 900 million population, where we have 1.2 billion population, where we have 900 million tele-density, where everyone is got connected on a single platform called Hello Hello. So today everyone is connected on Hello Hello. Think about the day when the Zoll phone gets shut down. What will happen? Can you be away with your phones today? It's like a nightmare. You can't be away with your phones. The best thing is today, when you go to sleep, you keep your phone on the right-hand side, and left-hand side is your wife. When you get up early in the morning, the first thing what you see is not your wife's face, rather your cell phone's face. And the first call is the nature's call, where you run to the bathroom, and the second call is your cell phone call. So the cell phone has become so important in your life that previously it was near the ear. Now it has reached to the heart. It's emotionally connected. From hello, hello, people is now click, click. So with this, I'm going to tell you that what are the certain issues which are there in Indian market related to data speeds, why the end consumer doesn't get the speed what he's been assured. Ladies and gentlemen, with this, I'm going to start my presentation. My presentation is basically an industrial presentation, not related to my organization, which tells that how exactly the overall ecosystem has to be built to have the great speeds. Before I get into the slides of the presentation, I need to tell you that what exactly Nanotel is doing in India. Nanotel is actually having an infrastructure IP1 license, which is called as infrastructure provider license. We actually lease and sell the dark fiber. And then we are even into applications and contents. We are going to launch our own tablets with the educational, healthcare, and entertainment. Now, what was the agenda for today is how exactly the old NGN networks was there, and why exactly the networks was completely vertical, and how exactly now the networks are horizontal, and how the speeds can be given, the assured speeds need to be given, what business models need to be in place. So those all things I'm going to share with you today. India is the second largest country in terms of subscriber base. If you see, we have 900 million subscribers today as of today, where we have 1.2 billion population. It is the fastest growing telecom industry, and we have a dynamics, like we have 10 telecom operators, 6 managed service providers, and 7 telecom tower providers. If you see Indian population, how exactly it's been divided, we have 1.2 billion population, out of which the 30% has been penetrated from the urban market, and 70% has been actually penetrated from the rural market. So if you see this 30% is giving close to 115 to 150% of tele-density, whereas the balanced 70% is only 30% penetrated. So you have still scope of 40% where still people don't have phones. This is a quick snapshot which tells about India that how many operators do we have. So we have 12 GSM operators, 4 CDMA operators, 3 3G operator license in each state, and 3 bandwidth license pan-India, and we have 10 passive infrastructure providers. So to serve 900 million current subscribers, this is the dynamics. If you see the subscriber growth trend, it was really dynamic since past 5 years, but now there is a standstill because voice has taken a back seat and data is coming up. Data is coming up in a big way in complete pan-India. So let's talk something about what was the legacy networks of India, how exactly the legacy networks were defined. So we used to have everything a vertical layers, like the TDM switches, where, in fact, the PDH and the SDH switches, everything was being designed to handle vertically. Like to handle the voice, it was vertical. To handle the data, it was vertical. So this was the old one. So what was the pre-generation network? If you see the pre-generation network, video services, telephone services, data services, landline services, your GPRS networks, your 3G, your 2G, was separate verticals which was been defined. So what was the problem of this? So you require each slots for each service. So how do we multiply services now? User wants a seamless connectivity. If you see the end consumer who's using these services, he wants a seamless connectivity. So how exactly the seamless connectivity can be achieved? So there was a GSM services, there was CDMA, there were kind of PSTN services. Now, how exactly this can be achieved? What was the problems of the existing network? Of the existing network, it was a very slow to develop new features and capabilities. The cost of OpEx was very high, and to build such networks was very expensive. Like building alone a kind of a data network, alone a kind of a voice network. Then with this, what exactly thought of operators was, operators want more customers, increased revenues, reduce cost, harmonized networks, new services, fast to market. What exactly vendors want? More customers, increased revenue, reduced cost, harmonized equipment, new products, brand recognition. But in this entire ballgame, what exactly the customer want? New services, value for money at less cost, personalization, simplicity, and mobility freedom. But how exactly this can be achieved? Just having one bill for every service. Just having one bill. Either it's a data service, it's a landline service, it's a postpaid connection, it's a prepaid connection, having only one service. So this has given the birth for next generation networks in India called third generation networks and fourth generation networks. So what is NGN? NGN is a converged quad play voice and data network. NGN is high-speed broadband network. NGN is having a complete IP transport transmission backhaul network. NGN is having a service-oriented layer, not the vertical layers, but complete horizontal layers. And NGN is IPv6, where you can even have televisions playing on your broadband. So what are the characteristics? It's a complete packet-based network. It's a complete, your transmission is a packet-based network. And using that, you require, you can track all the customers having only one bill rather sending so many bills at one time. So these are the present day networks, and these are the next generation network, which is under only one cloud. So if you see the old networks was everything separate. So now we have brought this into one cloud. Mobility and convergence vision was anywhere, anytime, and any place. So this is the slogan of third generation and fourth generation network. But somehow the speeds are not constant. The kind of speed which we tell to the customer, we are not able to deliver the right speed. What are the advantages of this network? If you see country like India, where the tenancy ratio of tower is very high, it's like every tower is having minimum 1.5 to 2 tenancy. That means that there are 3-4 players who are hanging on that. So the infrastructure is required. One backbone for voice and data services. It's a common backbone network which has been shared. So the birth of sharing came into picture. It's like operators started sharing the network. 10 years back, operators were having a second thought to share the network. But now, operators started everything sharing, starting from the passive network to active network. In the other words, the need of hour was convergence. That converging, making a sharing model to run in the market. So where is the solution? So now the solution sets embedded each upon each. So here, the solution is this. You have an NGN transport network. You have an NGN services. Everything is embedded one upon one, rather having a kind of complete vertical solutions. Now, let me touch something on the drivers of revenues for Indian market. What are those 4 drivers of complete Indian market? You have a data traffic exploding, and then you have a rural population underserviced. Then you have something called pressures on the operating margins. Then you have connectivity to every tower called fiber towers. So fiber tower is one thing which is really missing in India. If you see that how exactly the Indian subscribers slowly started moving from the conventional old voice services to data services. Now, data services, the traffic has been increased dramatically. It has been increased very fast. But somehow, people couldn't able to get the assured speeds on their, on their devices. There are so many reasons, like the ecosystem of the entire network is not in place, or the content is not in place, or the smartphones, the tablets are not in place. If they're in place, they're not in the achievable, affordable prices to the end consumer. Network challenges you have, the throughput latency is not coming up. Like if an operator says up to 3 Mbps or up to 10 Mbps, the question by us was, why up to 3 Mbps? Why can't you say just 3 Mbps? Why can't you say 0.1 Mbps? 4 years ago, there was an operator who brought per second billing on the voice services. Like if a customer uses for 10 seconds or 20 seconds, he needs to pay only for 20 seconds. Before that, like even though he talked for 1 minute, which is 60 seconds, or 1 second, he was paying for 60 seconds. But we don't have a strategy, especially in data services, that how much if I use, like if I use only 1 MB, then I have to pay only for 1 MB, even though I'm on data plan of 10 MB. So that billing is not happening today. As I told you that the rural population is still undercovered, you have those 40% of population which has not been served. The reason is, telco says that the business, we can't find the business revenue models. But I think if we make the big fiber network in those countries, because fiber network is one thing which is really missing, even though you have voice services. But that fiber network is missing. That's the reason you don't have a data connectivity, in Tier B and Tier C, Tier B, Tier C, kind of cities of India. But to just build this network in the rural, that means you have very high operating cost. The reason is rural is not having electricity. So your all cell sites or tower sites would be running only on the diesel generators, which is high OPEX, or else solar. So now to have very good speeds, what do you require? If you see close to 200,000 towers have been connected, 70% of technology which has been used is a microwave technology. Whereas the 30% of sites are connected on the fiber technology. The fiber technology in India has been used as a hub site, which is parent versus child site. You don't have a concept where every tower is routing with the fiber. The reason why I am saying this is the loading which has been happening today on the tower, it's heavily loaded. And the load comes from where? The load comes from microwave. because the microwave weight itself is so high that if you put 3 microwaves, like 7 to 80, it's like 70 to 80% of the weight has been covered on the tower. So if you offload those microwaves, in one way, you can increase the tenancy ratio, and in second way, you have the transmission connectivity, which is fiber. You can still use it. So, and in the third way, the speeds can be delivered what has been eschewed, rather, the speeds which are being eschewed has not been delivered. So let's talk about the typical managed service scope model what we have in India. That we have some 10 different service providers, then we have 5 different managed service guys, then we have some 6 different telecom tower companies. Now the scope of managed services with a service provider is to handle the end-to-end network operations, which is called as managed service model. But this managed service model is missing one important link, which is the backhaul piece. The backhaul piece is not with the managed service providers like NSN, Ericsson, ZTE, Huawei, or by and large any other managed service provider. And the towers is being totally offloaded to the tower companies, and he is only handling the infrastructure. So we need to bring a managed service model where the ownership of the backhaul and the backbone is either with a tower company or either with a managed service provider, which is really missing today. What are the key challenges for these telecom operators? So the key challenges is always the area of concern is network utilization and OpEx. So as I told you that, now people have moved from the second generation network to third generation network. But the third generation network was been launched in top 100 cities of India. In this top 100 cities also, utilization of every 3G tower site or utilization of every 3G BTS site couldn't able to cross more than 30% because of various reasons, like the ecosystem has not been covered. The speeds are there, but you don't have a local content. So why should I require a third generation network if I don't have a local content? To give you a best example, which I shared this example with many of my friends yesterday, it's like I drive a local branded car in India, and my friend is driving a Benz in India. My car can go at 100 miles per hour, whereas my speedometer can take me to 120 miles per hour. And my friend's car, which is Benz, is driving at 100 miles per hour, whereas his speedometer can take him for 350 miles per hour. But he is not able to drive out because the road and the platform has not been laid there. So in the same way, I am a 2G technology, and this guy is a 3G or 4G technology. So that ecosystem is missing. The local content is missing. What should I do with a 21 Mbps network or a 100 Mbps network where I have a pipe where the speeds has been eschewed, but I can't able to download something? There is no content in India. So do the operators or the content providers expect me to go and work on probably on Facebook or kind of YouTubes? Because that can be even accessed on a 512 Mbps network. This is a very typical chart of operations. If you see, you have a burning sun, then you have a setting sun, you have a shining sun, then you have a rising sun. And this particular chart talks about OpEx versus utilization. So this is, this is actually meant for the service providers like Airtel, Vodafone, Idea Cellular, by and large, any operator. So what exactly the operator wants to be there? Does he wants to be here? Does he wants to be here? Or does he wants to be here? So he needs always high utilization, and low OpEx cost. So this high utilization and low OpEx cost can be only achieved if the ecosystem of that particular network is being delivered without any loopholes. This particular slide talks about network split cost. Thank God it's like the tower companies came into picture like just 5 years back. So where the infrastructure was totally been offloaded, calling a tower company. Otherwise, this was the baby of the operator. But today, still the OpEx cost is very high. It's a very high because 70% of telco sites still runs on diesel generator. So the OpEx cost is so high that the ARPU per customer is less. So how to increase the ARPU, kind of ARPU per customer? Whereas the voice customers have taken a back seat. There is no more ARPU. It's going constant. If you want to increase the data speeds, you need to come up with vernacular contents, like probably in different languages. With this, I say thank you very much. This was my presentation.